Good morning, everyone, and welcome to week number 4. And I say that this is the last solid week because week 5, I tell all students to join week 5 and week 6 together because week 6 is actually only 2 days. So I recommend that you do both of them together just to get it over with because once we do grade a 5, it's just 2 days later. So do week 5 and week 6 together. But anyway, we're still in week number 4, and you all are doing really, really well. Okay. You're either doing really, really well or you're doing terrible. And so those that are kind of in that 50 to 60% range, you almost are there. And I strongly recommend you to give me a call. I had 5 new students, meaning I wouldn't even call them a problem because they're not, but we're struggling with their grades with, let's say, those 50s and 60 mark. And those 5 new ones with those grades, they popped right up. They popped right up. And don't be ashamed that you're not watching the video. I already know. So it's not something to be shameful for it. But the fact that you won't call me, that's something to be ashamed of because that's what I'm here for. Not that I'll tease you that you've not watched the live videos, but I already know. And so there's no mystery there. And those that are all doing well, you may want 100%, they're watching the videos and it's working. Some students get the material faster and some don't. So it's your choice at this point to either choose to do really well and pass the class, just merely pass the class, or just to fail it and take it over again. If you're not a marketing major, I'm stuck that you chose this course, but this was your choice. Now, if you're a marketing major, you're expected to know all this. Okay. You're expected to be able to know how to identify who your customer is and that target. And I think that that's really the hard part. I don't know why. And I think a lot of students are overthinking it. But once you get a job in marketing, or if you have a marketing job, and if you want to become the manager, you want to become the vice president of marketing, you want to be the president of the marketing department, you want to be head of communications or whatever. I would think that that's why you're here. You don't want to be, and there's nothing wrong with customer service. I've done it for years, but you're looking for bigger and better. You're looking for those jobs at $50,000, $100,000 a year and greater. And I'm not saying that any student in here, even those that are not passing, could get those positions. You can. It's just a matter of your will. And you have a choice. Either you can choose to will it now or struggle over time. And your method is not working. Okay, it's just not working. And I'm sorry it's not working. I'm not here to prove my method is better than yours. It doesn't make a difference to me. But I would rather you pass the class, get through this class, and it'd be over. And so we only have a good 2 weeks left. That's more than enough time to bring your grades up, but you got to start watching these classes. I really liked the last class because I really honed into that target market. And you should know who your customer is. It should be printed on there. Make it a huge banner. I don't care who your customer is. You are in the textiles business. I have students that are still not talking about textiles at all and going on to Facebook and Instagram and TikTok is their favorite. And I mentioned that week 1. And it's funny, if you really look at my keywords, they're all about your commitment to passing the class, meaning, do I promise to do APA? And students are still struggling and not doing it are two different things. I can help you if you're struggling, but if you're not doing it, how is that my fault? And these, again, are things that you're expected to do on a collegiate level. We are an accredited university. You chose to go to a school that your certificate actually says something and actually means something, because all schools can be looked up whether or not they're accredited or not. And so if you have HR, they want to know if your school is accredited because that's what they want for that job. I may or may not need a college degree. We're not here to argue that, but we are here to argue that that's what they want. And that's why you're here. So to do it, just do it. And so it goes back to that target market. My last week's keyword was I will identify the target. I think everyone put that in as their keywords, those that chose to do the assignment. I think I only had 3 stragglers that did not do anything, but you wrote it down. And then I still have students that just, I don't know what it is you're doing. I have 2 or 3 students that are not even doing it on a textile at all. I think it's actually a project that they did for another class in another term. Well, again, that's not my fault, but I'm here to help you. I'm here for you to do well, but you got to take the first step. I've emailed all the same students over and over again, and it really goes down to that identifying who your target is. And I really honed in on that. And that's really, really important, because if you don't even write it in your paper, I don't think it's even in your head. And I think that if you do write it down on paper, all your research, everything that you're writing about in terms of the rubric, all wrap around that specific target. And then if you go to principles of marketing, because this is just an extension of that, once you know who your target is, and didn't we do a pro forma? So we knew exactly who your person was. Now, in our case, we're business to business. We're not business to consumer, but you could write a pro forma on, let's say, the buyer that would buy your materials. So none of that's all unique and new from that class to this class. It all works together. And I throw in videos to be able to supplement the classes, because I spent, in my opinion, too much time on APA. And I'm sorry for those students that are doing well and they want to expand what we're talking about in terms of the discussion of the course or what have you. And I'm just still stuck on talking about APA in just your papers alone. But I need to pull the whole class up. And for the most part, you are getting there. I have a lot of students that are doing really well. Picked it up, maybe struggled a little bit, said, forget it, I'm going to watch the videos, and they're right on track. I had some students that weren't doing so well. About 5 of them this week had reached out for appointments, called, turned around. Incredible work. Incredible work. So your method is not working if you're not passing, and that's not my fault, because I've been reaching out every single week. Okay, so it still goes back to that target market and everything wrapped around it. And I had my notes, and I already lost them. And here it is. Okay, perfect. And then for this last paper, students had problems with engagement. Remember, again, I have a feeling that you didn't know who your target market was, so you're just carrying on and on about it. And I know that that's what you're doing because you have general statements. And so I said, oh gosh, the student's working a lot harder than they really need to do, that they can go ahead and write in capital letters, I don't care, bold it, and everything is around that specific target and everything will fall into place. Okay, I know I've repeated myself to ad nauseum about it, and I'm sorry, but we get it. So here is your magic word. We still have time to get whatever grade I want in this class. But first, I got to watch the live classes. Okay, so magic word is, to some extent, is I still have time to raise my grade to get whatever grade I want, something to that effect. Amy's very good. She writes these things down. But I got to watch the live classes, something to that effect. And of course, reach out to me. But that is your magic word. Basically, it is, I have time to raise my grade. Got to watch the live classes. That's basically what I want. I still have time to raise my grade. I got to watch the live classes. So that is your word, variations of it. I know Amy, she's great at writing down. She probably wrote exactly what I wrote down. So she'll know I kind of I did 2 variations of it, and I'm fine with that. But you got to really watch these classes. Okay, anyway, let's go over here. Papers that I really, really did like. This one, okay, first thing I do is I go right to the end, and I'm going to look at these resources right over here. And excellent resources, a minimum of 3. Here's the internal citation. There are still students that are just making it up. Okay, do not get creative when it comes to internal citation. Last name, year. If you knew the page number, it'd become a page number, but that's kind of changed because of us on the internet. Proper punctuation would actually be comma. Not a big deal. I don't take off those. I'm just looking for this. This is all I'm looking for. Okay, so there it is. So there is right up here was bulk of it was. Oh, you can't see that. Sorry about that. Thank you, Amy. I would have been teaching the whole class. That's my biggest nightmare, is that I teach the whole class and I didn't show you anything. So excellent. Sorry about that. Here it is right over here. So basically, I went into the internal citation. And again, do not get creative with it. It's either right or it's wrong. I did not invent it, but I'm really looking for that open parentheses, last name, year. If you know the page number, it'd be common the page number. But like I had said before, because of the internet, in that case, we don't really know the page numbers anymore, so they kind of dropped it. But this would actually be a comma, okay, comma, and it goes right into it. So the reason is the costly traditional marketing strategy. It allows us to track our campaigns accurately. Okay, that's a good reason, okay, that they could be able to measure them and so forth. It kind of came from the other paper as well, which is perfectly fine. But if you really look at it, then I know that this is a sentence or a paraphrase from someone else by the author of Garrett. So if I wanted to go down here at the very, very end, I could be able to refer to it. There it is. And so I could be able to find the actual article and I could be able to read it. And that's how and why it works. Now, I did see an error, and these are things that I would not take points off of. Okay. But you see, however, as it's really Ferris stated, it wouldn't be this. It would be, let me take this one out. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just as Ferris stated. I don't know if I spelled it right. Here's the direct quote. And then in this case, it would be comma. Then I think it was 2008 or something like that. Okay, so that's how I know that it's the citation. Ferris, there's the date. Now, what I would have done was, oh, it's 2012. I'm sorry about that. But this is what I kind of would have done. Again, it's still incorrect, but it kind of covers it. But it would be as Ferris stated. There's the direct quote. And technically, to make it perfectly correct, there is the author and there's the year. Okay, and then you're done. Okay, I usually do not do it that way. I always do the full author last name. Okay, because, and that's what I want to stress, is there is a big controversy about stealing of people's information. And so it just has to be done. And this is going to be expected of your employers and whomever. I mean, there's major lawsuits. Keep bringing up the president of Harvard. If the president of Harvard lost their job, you don't think you as a student should be very aware of it. And we'll be seeing a lot of lawsuits with Chat GPT and those other AI because they don't know how to cite correctly. Okay. So anyway, minor things. I would not have taken points off of that. But the need of new pricing system that fits, 3 options: dynamic pricing, tiered pricing, and valued pricing. These were in the videos in the announcement section, which I said last week. Changing dynamics and so forth. This means dedicated team on top of the algorithm to make accordingly. Fail to learn fast. Okay. The beneficial shows allows companies of different sizes to make purchases that fit their needs, but they're supporting their idea in terms of pricing strategy and why they need to maintain the keeping with the assignment. And then of course, here's the engagement, closed it out. And so good paper. Now, there was another one I really did like. Okay, here's another one. And one thing I did like about this, you see here, they put the headers in there so I could be able to easily follow them. Here, Fabric members. I want to know exactly what it is you do and what it is they do. Now, this person wrote it in. Competition of business textile manufacturing companies. This is key. This is your customer. Know everything about them because it's a little different than if you are selling to a mother that's buying a t-shirt, for instance, for their kid. The whole buying process is different. But the dangers of business-to-business budget cuts, here they are, and well supported. Considerations, here's the different pricing strategies and so forth, and contributing factors. There's the relationships, and close out the paper, and it's done. It's a great paper. Okay, it outright tells me who the customer is, so I'm not bouncing around for it. Okay, then I did like another one because they gave me some numbers. Okay, and so again, it's very easy to find. So say so forth, different campaigns. Then they went into the SEO, return on investments, and so forth, and then they closed out their paper. But it was all about that business-to-business consumer, of textiles. I'm telling you, it's going to help you greatly. It really will help you greatly by knowing who your customer is. And that's true for any marketing class from here until the very end. People behave differently for that particular segment, and each assignment is in guidelines of that. So let's go ahead and let's go into week 4, which is that branding and integrated marketing. A lot of you have been talking about, but now we're going to tailor it exactly to business and to that textiles company, whoever your actual buyer is. And I want you to narrow it down because there's a student, it's a great idea, eco-friendly fabrics. It's excellent. There's not a thing wrong with it. And overall, broadly, because I was in the furniture business, and there were companies that were eco-friendly, I guess. Not really, but more stain resistant. That's what's really come to my head. Stain resistant is a great concept. There's nothing wrong with it. However, who is your customer? Is it the furniture company? Is it clothing that never gets dirty? Is it sneakers that never get dirty? That would be a dream come true. But anyway, eco-friendly is so broad, and I understand what they're saying, and they're very, very good at their work and working on their assignments and so forth and doing well in the class. But I want to tailor it and narrow it down, making the assignment a little bit easier. Who is your customer? And how it's written is everyone that wants it eco-friendly for the most part. I maybe narrow it down. I think, is it possibly furniture? I don't remember. But anyway, it'll make the assignment easier. Anyway, you are expected to work on this week 21 hours worth of your life on this week, not the whole class, on this week. Now, students, you do know, and I don't really draw these reports, I know how long you are on each section in each of these classes. It tells me how long you watched the video. It doesn't tell me if you're here or not, but really watching it, that's something that's just intuition, because you talk about t-shirts and little Johnny wearing your t-shirt that's it's stain resistant. I don't know, but that's not the assignment at all. So I know you didn't watch it. But it tells me how long you have spent in this course. Some students going to get away with less time than others, but those that are getting A's have spent a lot of time dedicated to these assignments. Anyway, evaluate the importance of branding and integrated online marketing communication, because we're all tying it together. Identify successful branding online marketing campaigns and discuss how they use multimedia branding and business marketing. You learn something integrated marketing communication in your principles of marketing course. That's one message that goes through all those channels. It could be commercials, in our case, it's online, print, your campaigns all integrate within one message, and they should, for the most part, say the same thing because you've identified one customer. There's very few companies that can get away with such a broad customer, like Apple. They have so many different products and so many different targets in their Apple. Let's just talk about the watch. If you looked at Apple watches, and I'm an Android person, but they have Apple has great products. I just haven't gone that way. But anyway, if you see their commercials, you see their advertisements, they're over different phases, and you can see how they know who their customer is to motivate each of their commercials. They'll have young, beautiful people having great time, but it's targeted to an older person. And that's called image transfer marketing. When you see whatever's on TV and you want to take that image, that if I buy this phone, I'm gonna have a hip, great life, and I'm gonna start recording TikTok videos. I don't know. But anyway, you get the point that I'm talking about. And then they hone right into that generation as well. So there's multiple message, but they're saying kind of the same thing: is we have a fun product that brings the best out of you, if that makes any sense. Lever, they have 2 definite commercials. If you see all of their different products, a lot of times married men, their wives buy their shaving creams and their razors and so forth, and they can use image transfer with good-looking men that aren't very dressed. But what their wife says is, if I buy the shaving cream for my husband, he's going to turn out looking like that. Will he? I don't know, but maybe that's a memory in their head. And so then they buy the product. But then again, you have single men that will buy their own house products and so forth. And because they wear this spray, Axe or whatever, you saw that more in their early commercials, they'll be able to, have all these women all over them. And thanks to that product, again, it's called image transfer, but the message is a little bit different, geared for the housewife or the girlfriend that buys their boyfriend or husband product versus the single man that does it for their own. And so be aware of that. Someone had an interesting post in discussion talking about advertising to children. All ads for children have two distinct customers, the child themselves and their parent that has the money to buy it. The kid, and how they do it, it's kind of interesting. And in some countries, it's actually illegal. They say, go tell your mom or dad to go buy me this, and ask them, because they'll make you so happy. And they're driving the parent crazy. But then the parent sees the commercial, and this is true of cartoons too. If you really watch a cartoon as an adult, you'll see they're entertaining two-person, a young person and their parent, because they want to entertain the parents. The parent doesn't change the channel. And the parent has more authority than the kid does. So there are hidden messages for both the kid and the parent. And so it's very hard when you're entertaining a child, but that marketing message, kid, go bother your parent, because that is the secondary. You would think that the primary was the kid, but it's not. The person with the money is always going to do the primary. Watch those commercials, especially if you have children, you'll be more sensitive to it maybe. And that's that integrated message. So you're going to get into brand perception, brand elements, brand and consumer engagement. And so we'll be able to do all that. And then here are the same assignments. The live class we've done, the written assignment, you're supposed to be spending 6 hours on it. That discussion, you're supposed to be spending 3 hours on it. I still have students that will give me a great post in a sentence. Students that still are not doing APA, okay? So what can I do? Anyway, I'm on all of your sides. I want you all to do well. But if you are not, you need to make an appointment to speak to me. You honestly do, because your way is not working. I'm not saying that my way is better, but I'm just saying, and it's not about wills that I want to win and you lose. It's not that. I want you to win, so I win, that I don't have to hear about you're unhappy with your grade, because this is what's going to happen by the time of week 5. All these terrible things are going to happen in my students' lives. I'll get 10 students, that's 50% of you, something tragic happened. The probability of that happening every single last week of class is very small. Okay, but what it really disturbs me most is things do happen in one person's life, and they kind of get ignored, unfortunately. And I always give you the benefit of the doubt, because I kind of have to. Okay, but let's not do this all the last week. And I'll have a student that say, 2 students out of 20, that's 10%, that's a lot, will say, Mark, can I give you extra credit? It's because that student didn't watch any of the classes. There's no need for me to give you any extra credit, because you can redo your assignments. But let's start working on them now. So my friend, let's go over here and let's do one more thing before I cut out of class. I got stuck on my weird rants. But anyway, let's go over here to your assignment, rethinking your brand. And if I stand correctly, we're back to our slides. 7 slides at a minimum, just like you did on the first. Who is your customer? Who is your customer? Remember, nothing has changed. You are a newly hired marketing consultant textile company that focuses on business sales. The textile company sells millions of dollars of product in the US and Canada and Europe. But until recently, the company was family run and rather old fashioned. The company has an informal website, but no other social media presence. It's funny. This is the assignment. You're a consulting firm. I have students that have picked things out of the internet. I don't know why, but they did. I don't take points off, but they spend more time on their fake company than the actual assignment. Anyway, pick your business-to-business customer. Understand how they buy. Discuss what is a good brand in relationship to your project. Identify the current, and then what is your proposed changes. 2 social media channels. Be very careful about it. I'm going to get Facebook. I'm going to get Instagram. I'm going to get TikToks. If you're going to use them, it's okay, but you got to give me support on why you think your customer will be there watching it while they are at work. Okay, 3 credible resources from ProQuest from EAB SEO. If you have any issues, always reach out to me. But here, I download the rating rubric. It really helps you with what it is I'm looking for. That's all I'm doing is checking it off, checking off, checking off, and there's your grade, and we are done. So again, everyone, you have a terrific week. I'm here to help you. Those that are struggling, they're probably not watching the class, but reach out to me and we'll do well. So let me go ahead and end the class. And so if Scott or Amy, thank you very much for coming, as you do. If you have any questions, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop recording.